Well, what does this have to do with Bible prophecy? I'm glad you asked. There's a couple of prophecies that we have in the scriptures that talk about how in the last days, not only will there be famines, but that food prices will escalate to quote this MSN commentator, insane and even absurd levels. In Revelation chapter 6, verses 5 and 6, John the Revelator, who receives this revelation, describes for us what he sees when in verse 5, the Lamb opened the third seal. He says, I heard the third living creature say, come. I looked, and there before me was a black horse. Its rider was holding a pair of scales. A pair of scales are a picture of commerce, balance to trade, buying and selling, weight per pound, the cost for a commodity. Its rider was holding a pair of scales in his hand. Then I heard what sounded like a voice among the four living creatures saying, a quart of wheat for a day's wages, and 3 quarts of barley for a day's wages, and do not damage the oil and the wine. How much do you earn in a day? How much is your salary or your hourly pay work out to every day? Well, take that figure, and in the tribulation, this is what it's going to cost. It's going to cost you 1 day's pay to buy a quart of wheat or a quart of barley. Now, understand that in the book of Revelation, you have this divine outline of sorts. There is a chronological order in the book of Revelation. And the book of Revelation, by the way, is the only book in all of the Bible that promises a blessing to those who read it, hear it, and take it to heart. In the first chapter, John is told that everyone who reads the book of this prophecy and not only reads it, but hears it, and not only hears it, but heeds it or takes it to heart, they will be blessed. I believe that's the main reason why Satan doesn't want Christians reading, or non-Christians for that matter, the book of Revelation. You know, when you talk to, Christians, well, the book of Revelation is a hard book to understand. It's so apocalyptic. You know what the word apocalyptic means, or apocalypsos in the original language? It means unveiling. And that's what the book of Revelation is. It's a revelation. It's revealing. It's unveiling. It unveils for us that which will take place in the last days. In chapter 1, we have John writing that which he was an eyewitness of, that which was past. Jesus Christ crucified, buried, and resurrected, and then seated at the right hand of the Father. Chapters 2 and 3 are perhaps, to me, one of the most fascinating studies in all of the Bible. It deals with church history, present, the 7 letters to the 7 churches. I believe we are living epically in that church age, that 7th church, the lukewarm church, the church of Laodicea. And then chapters 4 and really 5, for the most part, deal with everything that is future, starting with the rapture, chapter 4, verse 1. And then chapters 6 through 19 are about the tribulation. And then chapter 20 is about the millennium. And then chapters 21 and 22 are about the new heavens and the new earth. Do you realize you just did a bird's eye view of and study of the entire book of Revelation in about 25 seconds? How's that? That's the entirety of the book of Revelation. And it's a revealing book. Well, here John writes in chapter 6 that which he sees in the tribulation. But yet we're seeing it take place right now. What does that mean? I think it means that we're very close. I believe that the rapture of the church can happen at any time. The disciples asked Jesus when he was on the Mount of Olives, what would be the signs of the end? It says in Matthew 24, verses 3 through 8, as Jesus was sitting on the Mount of Olives, the disciples came to him privately. Tell us, they said, when will this happen? And what will be the sign of your coming and of the end of the age? Jesus answered, watch out that no one deceives you, for many will come in my name, claiming I am the Christ, and will deceive many. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. Watch this. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, and all these are the beginning of birth pains. In other words, we've always had famines. We've always had earthquakes. We've always had nation rising against nation. We've always had wars. We've always had rumors of wars. But what Jesus says here is that when you see them come to pass with greater frequency and greater intensity, like birth pains, then you'll know that you're close to the end. So we're seeing now food prices rise, and we're told in the tribulation that it will take a whole day's pay just to buy a measure of wheat to make bread in order to eat. I believe that not only is the end near, I believe the end is here. Are you ready? Are you ready? Is there anything that you have left, any unfinished business with the Lord? I would really encourage you to make sure that you don't have any unfinished business with the Lord, because the Lord said that he will return in an hour that we don't expect. I don't think that any of us here today expect that Jesus will come back at the hour between 2 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. That would sort of ruin our plans. Some of you are saying, bring it on. Would solve all my problems too. I have not one problem that the rapture won't solve. Lord, come quickly. Let's pray.